St. Thomas University and your Fighting Saints. As always, prior to the introductions of tonight's starting lineups, we ask that you please rise. Gentlemen, kindly remove your caps as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
From the Sullivan Center in Joliet, Illinois. Welcome to today's broadcast of the University of St. Francis Fighting Saints basketball. Today, the Saints in their home opener take on the Bobcats of St. Thomas University, who have made the trip up from Florida. Welcome once again to the broadcast. Terry Bonadonna here on the call for today's action as the Saints look for their first victory of the year. St. Thomas comes in ranked number 14 overall this season. Just one loss on the season so far for St. Thomas, but the tip is won by St. Francis. And the Fighting Saints in white going from right to left get things started here today. It's Nadav Gerner holding it on the wing. Up top to Tay Jones. Gerner and Jones in the lineup, along with Don Joachim, who's got the ball right now. Little turnaround jumper misses. E.J. Charles and Ben Fatz make up the front court for the Fighting Saints. Again, making their first appearance on their home floor this season. St. Francis is 0-1 after a double overtime loss in their season opener at St. Ambrose. Three-pointer is off the mark from Milton Matthews, but an offensive rebound grabbed by Daniel Agoro. Matthews tries it again, and he misses again. Rebound, Joachim. Stipe Sokol, Joshua Thrower, Jordan Hernandez start for St. Thomas, along with the aforementioned guards, Matthews and Agoro. Scoreless, a minute into the action. Ben Fatz has it in his possession. Fatz backing in, tries to create some space, moves to the left, and flips it off the backboard and in. Nice move by Ben Fatz, who had 6 points to go along with 12 rebounds in his St. Francis debut on Wednesday. Fatz is a junior transfer from Olney Central College, originally out of Germany. Sokol passes over to Matthews on the wing. Milton Matthews, the leading scorer so far this season for St. Thomas. Step back jumper is good. This one from 2-point range, and we're knotted up in the early going. 5-1 overall, the record for St. Thomas so far. Their only loss was against a top 25 opponent, Mobile, back on November 3rd. E.J. Charles in the post, kicks it outside to the senior guard, Nadav Gerner. Fatz at the elbow, picks up his dribble, needs to find help somewhere, and finally does find Charles. Step back three, E.J. Charles a little bit too strong, and the rebound is grabbed by Milton Matthews. Slow start to this game. Each team has a bucket. More than 2 minutes into the action, Matthews trying to give St. Thomas their first lead of the game, and he does on a beautiful drive and a nice finish from the left side on the layup. Matthews has the first 4 of St. Thomas's points. He has been the lion's share of their offense, not just in terms of the points, in which he's got all of them, but shots have been 80% Matthews as well. Here's Charles in the post against Joshua Thrower. He throws it out to Jones, and Jones steps on the sideline out of bounds. That's a turnover. First turnover of the game committed by the Fighting Saints. 17-17 on the clock in the first half. 4-2. St. Thomas has the lead. First matchup all time between these two schools. St. Thomas has made the trip up from Florida. One of 2 schools from Florida playing in this weekend's event, the annual Thanksgiving Classic. E.J. Charles knocks it away. Offensive rebound, second chance. Agoro from the corner hits the 3. So Agoro was rejected at the rim by Charles, but it played to his benefit as he ended up getting an extra point out of it. A 3-ball from Agoro, 7-0 run for St. Thomas. Nadav Gerner kicks it out to Ben Fatz. 3-pointer, way off. Rebound St. Thomas. It's Jordan Hernandez. Fighting Saints have gone nearly 2.5 minutes without scoring. Step back jumper, Jordan Hernandez, no good. Fight for the rebound, won by Thrower, and St. Thomas resets with the shot clock back to 20. Agoro puts it on the floor, tries to get around Gerner. Good defense from Nadav Gerner. Agoro still able to get a shot off, a wild one, and it rolls around the rim and misses. E.J. Charles comes back the other way with it. Here's Jones. Jones bounces it underneath to Fatz, who stepped on the baseline. Second turnover committed by the Saints. They've both been the same. Offensive player in possession of the ball stepped on the line. Actually, I'm not sure if Fatz stepped on the line there or if the ball got the line. Either way, it was out of bounds. Sierrius Warren checks in for the first time for St. Thomas as we've got our first substitution of the game. Stipe Sokol sits down. Here's Warren's first touch of the game. Gives it up to Matthews. An uncontested 3 is good. 10 straight points for the 14th ranked Bobcats. And they've got a hefty first half lead. St. Francis now 3.5 minutes without a point. Gerner flips it out to Joachim. Jones from the wing, lobs it to the uncovered E.J. Charles. Charles steps into the paint, kicks it outside. Gerner, nice fake, steps in, out to Charles. Good closeout defense from St. Thomas, but Gerner finally finds himself a wide open layup underneath. And after a drought of nearly 4 minutes, the Saints are back on the board. Great ball movement on that possession for St. Francis. Passed up a lot of good looks and ended up getting a great one. Gerner's got his first points on his first field goal attempt today. Jordan Hernandez drives around Jones, kicks it outside. From the corner, it's Agoro, picked up by Gerner. Agoro carries it into the paint, gives it up to nobody, just rolled that ball into no man's land. Picked up by St. Francis, ahead to Tay Jones, who lays it in. He's got his first two, and the Saints have scored on back-to-back possessions. They trail now by just 4 following the 10-0 run from the Bobcats. Under 15 minutes to play in the first half, and that's a traveling violation. Sirius Warren caught that ball in traffic, had to go up high for it, and he came down a little off balance. So he chopped his feet a little bit before taking his first dribble. It's a turnover, and it gives St. Francis the ball back with a whole new lineup on the floor. Ramel Davis is in, along with Lewis McGlasson, Ibrahim Mobayed. And they brought in a 4th player, too. It's Dakota Joachim. So E.J. Charles is the only starter who remains on the floor. Drive from Joachim, gives it up to Mobayed, who's blocked by Matthews. Thought he had a clear path to the basket. Matthews came flying in from the backside. Poked away by Mobayed and out of bounds. Kyle Feldman is in the game right now for St. Thomas. He checked in at that last whistle. It's Hernandez on the inbounds play. E.J. Charles going for the steal, over pursued. Thrower was able to pull it in. Saints are back in position defensively, though. Here's Thrower backing down on Mobayed. Thrower double team, bounces to the cutting Feldman. Feldman up in the air, gives it to Hernandez. Shot clock at 2. Thrower does not get it off on time. And the Fighting Saints force the shot clock violation and a turnover. I think Thrower caught wind of that shot clock a little bit too late. Didn't seem to be in any kind of hurry to get the ball off. And ultimately, he got it off a little bit too late. So St. Thomas lead remains at 4, but it's been a few minutes now since they've put the ball in the basket. And it's turnover for the Fighting Saints as Davis's pass towards Joachim was in and out of his hands and out of bounds along the sideline. Turnovers are hurting the Fighting Saints a little bit right now, but their defense has made up for it. St. Thomas really struggling to score of late. A pretty low scoring start to this game. Good defense on both sides. Matthews for 3. A little bit short. Rebound grabbed by Ramel Davis. Davis nearly had his pocket picked by Kyle Feldman, but he keeps the ball alive and gets it across half court. Lewis McGlasson wide open for 3 in the corner. He makes it a 1-point game. Lewis McGlasson has his first points today. First 3-pointer of the game for the Saints. Feldman trying to answer on the other end. Gives it up to Hernandez. Hernandez puts it on the floor. Fadeaway jumper is short. Rebound Mobayed, and the Saints can take the lead back. Their only advantage so far today has been 2-0. They have followed a 10-0 St. Thomas run with 7 straight points of their own. Make it 9 in a row for the Saints. As McGlasson steps inside the 3-point line, knocks down a 2-point jumper, and a timeout is called by St. Thomas with 12:35 to play in the first half. St. Francis 11, St. Thomas 10, and a nice showing early on for the home team. The Fighting Saints trying to pick up a win over a ranked team as they look for their first victory of the year. Got off to a late start this season in terms of their regular season schedule. They opened up with a few exhibition games against Division I schools, went down to Texas for a couple of games at St. Edwards. So their first regular season game was a conference game. It was a little bit tough to start out that way, and they gave St. Ambrose all they could handle, but the Fighting Bees ended up pulling that one out in double overtime, a 2-point margin of defeat for the Saints. Low scoring game that day, another low scoring game to start today. Their strength has been defense thus far. They keep the same 4 subs on the floor and bring in a 5th, Ben Kreitz, redshirt sophomore from Wilmington, Illinois. checks in, so it's 5 reserves on the floor right now for St. Francis. 1 point lead for the Saints. St. Thomas trying to take that lead back away. They haven't scored in over 3 minutes. Warren misses. Now he's blocked from behind, but he goes to the free throw line on a foul. Ciarius Warren sticks with it. After he missed the initial attempt, Ramel Davis came in from behind. And he's called for his first foul. We are 7 minutes and 45 seconds into the game. That was the first foul called on either team today. Ciarius Warren goes to the line. An 11-point per game score, not good from the free throw line, but he made that one. It was a little bit of an adventure, but it did fall for him. Just a 41% foul shooter. That snaps the drought at just over 3 minutes for St. Thomas. St. Francis had a 4-minute scoring drought earlier in the half. Warren goes 1 of 2. So lived up to the billing. Not a great stroke from the line for Warren. We're tied. McGlasson tries to break that tie, and he does from way outside. Lewis McGlasson has scored the last 8 points for the Fighting Saints. McGlasson played only 5 minutes in the season opener and scored just 3 points. He's already got 8 points in the first half today. Here's Warren off the backboard, no good. Rebound tipped around, still loose on the baseline and picked up by Ciarius Warren. Second time in a row he's gotten his own rebound, and the second time in a row it's led to points. That's Milton Matthews off the pass from Warren, a 3-pointer for him, and he's now got a game-high 10 points as we're tied at 14. Davis turns to face the basket, passes back outside. Mobayad left uncontested on the baseline, misses from 12 feet out, but the rebound is grabbed by Davis. Second chance coming up for St. Francis. Shot clock at 15. Mobayad gives it up to McGlasson. McGlasson has scored the last 8 for the Saints. He gives it up this time. Pass deflected out of bounds with 5 to shoot. It stays with the Saints. .11:04 to play in the first half. Ramel Davis is the inbounder. Davis finds Joe Kim. 3 to shoot. Joe Kim step back, long 2 off the backboard, no good. No shot clock violation as the rebound was grabbed by Ciarius Warren. The ball knocked away from Matthews. Here's Joe Kim on the other end, laying it in. Don Joachim takes it away from Milton Matthews. And the Saints are back in front, 16-14 as we approach the midway point of the first half. Feldman swings it around to Agoro. Now it's Warren on the baseline, guarded by Ben Kreitz. Ciarius Warren spins his way to the basket, rolls it around the rim, doesn't finish. Rebound grabbed by the Saints. St. Francis has not led by more than 1 possession until now. Off a beautiful feed from Dakota Joachim. Ben Kreitz finishes at the rim with a nice layup, 18-14. Saints have scored on their last 2 possessions. St. Thomas looks to answer, but they can't. Warren is called for the travel. How about the reserves of St. Francis today making a run? Since Ryan Marks made his substitutions, brought in 4 reserves and then eventually brought in a 5th. But since he brought in those 4 initially, Saints have outscored the Bobcats 12-4. McGlasson on the wing, bounces it in tight to Mobayad. Reverse layup is blocked by Joshua Thrower. So a big stop for St. Thomas. We'll see if they can turn it into points on the other end. They can't. Warren completely out of control, just whipped it at the backboard. Here's Dakota Joachim along the baseline. Reverse layup for him is good. What a spark off the bench for Dakota Joachim. He's played good defense and now 4 straight points on the offensive end. 6-point lead for the Fighting Saints. It's their biggest. Here's Gabriel Vargas. Just into the game, Vargas gives it up to Thrower. Corner three for Joshua Thrower, misses. Rebound grabbed by Ramel Davis. Saints are playing great with their 5 reserves on the floor, trying to add to their lead with under 9 minutes to play in the first half. It's Mobayed looking around. He gives it to Davis. Ramel Davis drives to the left. Davis, fadeaway floater is good. Great drive, Ramel Davis. Timeout called by Patrick Crary from the bench of St. Thomas. They're getting blitzed right now by the Fighting Saints bench. 22-14. The Saints, after trailing big early, have outscored St. Thomas 20-4, and most of that work has come from their reserves. Coming out of this timeout, Saints are going to bring a few starters back onto the floor, but these guys have really created a spark. Dakota Joachim, in particular, has been great of late. Lewis McGlasson was the guy who started it. McGlasson at one point scored 8 consecutive points for St. Francis, including a couple of three-pointers. So the Saints off to a great start against a team making their first trip ever out to Joliet. St. Thomas coming off of the best season in school history. They won 26 games a year ago. They've already got 5 victories on this young campaign. Trying to make it 6 today, but it's going to be an uphill climb. They trail by 8. They've won 3 consecutive. All of those have been at home. Bobcats basketball coming out of the timeout. Milton Matthews sets up the offense. Matthews got off to a really hot start. He and the rest of the Bobcats have been slowed down, though. This is Matthews pulling up from 2-point range. He misses the jumper short. Rebound grab by Dakota Joachim. Don Joachim is back in now as well, along with E.J. Charles and Ben Fatz. Ramel Davis remains on the floor. So 3 starters back in. Dakota Joachim gives it up, but Vargas can't corral it inbounds. So it's knocked out. It'll stay with the Saints. 14 to shoot. 2 teams who are playing next have checked into the arena. Roosevelt and United International coming up after this one is over. A doubleheader today and another one tomorrow. The St. Francis Thanksgiving Classic. This is Don Joachim stepping towards the baseline. Kicks it outside to E.J. Charles. Charles, the shot clock running down. Foists one up off the back iron, no good. Ben Fatz is there for the offensive rebound. St. Thomas forces the Fighting Saints to use up the full 30 seconds of the shot clock. The Saints get to go again. Pass to Davis. Davis is blocked. A little bit sloppy on the pass. I don't think he was ready for it. He's deflected on its way there from Charles. There's a deflection, but right back to St. Thomas. And Agoro underneath the hoop is able to lay it in. Another long drought is stopped by St. Thomas, but they've had a couple of droughts of 3 minutes or more here in the first half. Despite that, they trail by only 6, so they're hanging around. Lob down low for Davis, poked away by Agoro and out of bounds. It stays with the Saints, 14 to shoot, 6:51 to play in the first half. Gerner and Jones return to the floor. So all 5 starters are back out there for St. Francis now. It was that group off the bench that lit a fire under them and caused the comeback. We'll see if the starters can keep the momentum rolling. Gerner bounces to E.J. Charles. Charles, the leading scorer on Wednesday against St. Ambrose, this time gives it up. With the shot clock down to 2, Fatz has to throw it from long range. It's an air ball and a shot clock violation. Good defense for the second consecutive possession for St. Thomas. Saints, the last 2 times they've had the ball, have used up a total of about 1 minute and 15 seconds. They haven't scored. So it's just a 6-point game as St. Thomas takes possession. Stipe Sokol backing in. Sokol working against Fats, flips it up short, grabs his own rebound, but it's knocked out of his hand, and Don Joachim comes away with it. Joachim steps into the lane. His runner misses, grabs his own rebound, and amidst contact down low, he misses a second chance. No foul called as Milton Matthews comes across the half-court line with it. Josh Thrower from the corner. Thrower spins into the lane. Off the backboard, no. It's been a defensive slugfest early on. The refs are letting him play. Just one total foul has been called so far in this game. The ball is knocked out of bounds, last touched by the Saints. 5:41 to play in a quickly moving first half. And again, quickly moving in large part because there haven't been many fouls. A lot of physicality, a lot of very good defense in this game. And if you like defense, this has been a fun one to watch, and you're probably very appreciative of the fact that the refs have let a lot go. If you like free throws, you're maybe not as happy with it. Nick Nego is the inbounder for St. Francis, just in off the bench for the first time today. Jones to Fats, out to Nego. Nego steps to his left, bounces back to Ben Fats. He puts it on the floor. Fats all the way in, layup, no. Rebound tipped into the hands of Kyle Feldman. So the Saints are going through another big drought. Both teams have had multiple droughts in this first half of several minutes. Fortunately for St. Francis, the defense has held up to the point that they still do have this 6-point lead, and it remains at 6 as the jumper is off the mark from Jeremy Arnhem. Through the legs of Ben Fats, he tried to save it from going back court, but he couldn't do it. Another turnover for St. Francis, a backcourt violation. Down by 6 points. The Bobcats have the ball. Officials stop to talk something over before the inbounds play for St. Thomas. They're reversing the call, I think. They're going to give the ball back to St. Francis. The determination was, initially the call was backcourt violation. Now the determination, I think, is that the deflection from St. Thomas means that even though the ball went backcourt, it is still in possession of the Saints. So their shot clock is reset to 10 and their possession continues. It's a break for St. Francis. We'll see what they're able to do with it. Haven't been able to score their last 3 possessions. Patrick Crary takes the opportunity during this break to make a substitution. Stipe Sokol checks out. Ciarius Warren is back in. Here's Gerner with 7 to shoot. Around a screen to his left. Gerner looking for some help, finds Nego. Shot clock at 1. Fats doesn't know it, and it's a shot clock violation. So it took him an extra 10 seconds, but the Saints do turn it over anyway. And their lead remains at 6. As the Bobcats open up their next possession. Agoro swings it around. Arnhem. Pass is deflected by Fats, but chased down by Ciarius Warren. Plenty of time left on this possession for St. Thomas. Warren kicks it out to Hernandez, and Hernandez is called for the travel. Took a little hop before putting the ball on the floor. All of a sudden, it's become a battle of turnovers going back and forth. This has been a very good defensive game, but I don't want to sugarcoat it too much. It's been a little ugly offensively, too. E.J. Charles looking for Tay Jones and has him. Jones gets the screen from Fats. Now pulls up for 2. No good on the jumper. Offensive rebound, Fats. With 3 defenders around him, trying hard to hold on to the ball. And a jump ball is called. It's going the other way. Another empty possession for the Fighting Saints. They've been plentiful of late. Their backups came in and really created an offensive spark and a defensive spark as well. Since the starters have returned to the floor, the defense has stayed consistently high, but they just have not been able to find any offensive rhythm. Ibrahim Mobayed is back in. Feldman gives it to Milton Matthews. Three-pointer is good. 13 for Milton Matthews here in the first half. First time either team has scored in a while. And the lead for St. Francis, once 8, is now down to 3. Both teams have led by as many as 8 points in this first half. And what's shaping up to be a real defensive battle, every possession is going to be big. Jones has it knocked away by Agoro. Agoro off to the races, streaks down the lane and lays it in. It's a 1-point game with 3:12 to play in the first half. Timeout called by the Fighting Saints. Ryan Marks not too happy about what he has seen lately on the offensive end from St. Francis. It's been a while since they've scored. Their 22-14 lead is down to just 1 point. 7 consecutive for St. Thomas. It's been a back and forth streaky first half. Both sides have had multiple long stretches without scoring. The Fighting Saints are in the middle of one right now. The other issue we've seen today lately from the Fighting Saints has been turnovers. They haven't been able to get any shots off in the last few minutes. A couple of shot clock violations. We've seen them step on the line a couple of times. The general positive for the Saints is that most of their turnovers have been dead ball situations. That last one was a clean steal from St. Thomas, and that live ball turnover led to 2 points. Dakota Joachim is back in along with Ramel Davis. Charles, Fatz, and Gerner, the other 3 on the floor for the Saints. Joachim drives with the right hand, pulls up, and slips. Was he fouled there? Yeah, he was bumped on his way down. I don't think the push necessarily led to the fall. I think he was off balance, but as he stopped, Sirius Warren trying to blow by, made contact and sort of helped him to the ground. First foul of the half called against St. Thomas. They were only 3 minutes away from a perfect first half in terms of fouls. 1 on each team now. E.J. Charles for 3. Got it. E.J. Charles from the outside. His first three-pointer of the game. The lead is back to 4. The long scoring drought is over for St. Francis. Sirius Warren hands it to Milton Matthews, who nearly lost it. Good job by Matthews to keep the dribble alive. Hernandez tries to answer with a 3. It's an air ball. The rebound is knocked out of bounds by Warren. St. Francis ball with 2:09 to play in the half. Lewis McGlasson is back out there for St. Francis. McGlasson had that great run earlier, came off the bench and scored 8 consecutive points. Dakota Joachim finds E.J. Charles. Back out to Joachim, 15 to shoot. Charles in the corner, guarded by Hernandez. E.J. Charles puts it on the floor, spins into the lane, high off the glass, it's good. Over the outstretched arm of Sirius Warren, who came in to help, looking for the block. Charles has 5 in a row for St. Francis. The lead is back to 6. It's been as big as 8. St. Thomas was within 1 just a minute ago. Hernandez down to the corner. Agoro is hit by Ben Fatz, and that's the first foul on Fatz. Second of the game on St. Francis. Just 2 total fouls in the half on the Saints. We've seen only 3 fouls combined between these two schools through 18 minutes and 37 seconds. Final 1:23 of the half. St. Thomas trying to wrap it up on a little run here. They've led by as many as 8, the Bobcats have, but they've trailed the majority of the half. St. Francis has likewise led by as many as 8. Ibrahim Mobayed comes in for Ben Fatz. And finally, we're ready to continue play. Warren gives it to Agoro. Agoro puts it on the floor, works his way inside on Ramel Davis. Down to the corner, three-pointer is good. Jordan Hernandez from long range cuts this lead in half. It's 27-24. St. Thomas has picked up the defensive pressure a little bit. They've extended it all the way to half court. Half the shot clock gone for the Saints. Joakim drives, blocked by Warren. Ball saved from going out of bounds by Hernandez, and here come the Bobcats. Kyle Feldman wants to run. Feldman drives all the way in, misses the layup. Good defense from Davis, contesting that layup. And now the Saints have the ball with half a minute to play in the first. Davis out to Charles. Joakim is fouled by Feldman. That turns the shot clock off. Of course, St. Thomas had 5 fouls to give there, but they didn't want to use one there because it means that with the shot clock off, St. Francis can hold for the final possession here. Without that foul, St. Thomas was virtually guaranteed to have one more possession of their own. Now they'll need to force a turnover if they want that. Davis will inbound with 18.2 on the clock. A whistle blows. I think Agoro was told he wasn't giving Davis enough room to inbound. So he has to take half a step back. And we'll do it again. Davis calls timeout. He had E.J. Charles cutting to him. He had opened himself up. But I think he had already turned to call the timeout before he would have seen Charles. So the Saints take a timeout with 18 seconds to play in the half before they inbound it again here. They had gotten the ball in prior to that whistle. Again, the whistle was about St. Thomas not giving them enough space to get the ball in. But even without giving them enough space, they did let the ball in. The whistle hurt the Fighting Saints and that they couldn't get it in the second time around. But they'll try a third time coming out of this timeout. 27-24. St. Francis has the narrow lead. Both teams have led by as many as 8. For St. Francis, it was recently 22-14. For St. Thomas, it was way back in the first couple of minutes. They jumped out to a 10-2 lead, looked great. And then all of a sudden, the Fighting Saints scored 9 in a row. And they've really taken control of the game ever since then. Since that rough start, it's 25-14 St. Francis. Inbounded to Lewis McGlasson. McGlasson harassed by Milton Matthews. Still 4 fouls to give here for St. Thomas if they want to use them. Now with the shot clock off, they might want to give those fouls. Davis with 5 seconds left takes a step and a foul call. I thought they were going to get him for traveling. But no, Agoro is called for the push. So 3.6 on the clock now. It's not likely that St. Thomas will look to give another foul because the Saints will be looking to get a quick shot off. And that's the one thing the Bobcats can't afford is a foul on a shooter. Saints look to beat the buzzer with one more bucket here before the end of the half. It's E.J. Charles from deep in the corner, way off the mark. He wanted a foul called. He doesn't get it. What he does get is a 3-point lead going into halftime. A very defensive first half, very physical between two teams fighting hard here. St. Thomas looking for their 4th straight win. St. Francis looking for their first win of the year today in their home opener. 27-24 is our score. Saints on top with 20 minutes still to play in today's game. Halftime for the next 15 minutes or so. I'll step aside. Back at the end of the break, and we'll get you all prepared for half number 2 as the Saints look to pick up victory number 1 in 2023-24. Back in about 15 minutes. Halftime on the USF Sports Network. Halftime in Joliet, the University of St. Francis Fighting Saints take on the St. Thomas University Bobcats. Terry Bonadonna with you for another 20 minutes of basketball. Pretty tightly played first half, 27-24. The Fighting Saints have the lead. It was a back and forth stretch of some long runs there. Early in the game, a 10-0 run from St. Thomas gave them an 8-point lead. And then the Fighting Saints responded with a big run of their own. They eventually took an 8-point lead, but it was cut down to 3 before halftime. 43% from the field for the Saints, just 33% for St. Thomas, but the Bobcats have been better from the outside. 50% from three-point range, 5 of 10. Saints are 3 of 8. Rebounding stats have been pretty close to one another. 18 for the Saints, 15 for St. Thomas. 6 turnovers committed by both sides. Individual leaders, Milton Matthews is the game's leader with 13 points, 5 of 9 shooting. The rest of the team for St. Thomas is just 4 of 18. For St. Francis, it's Lewis McGlasson leading the way with 8 points on 3 of 3 from the field. Ramel Davis has 5 rebounds and 2 assists. Both of those are team highs, that in 11 minutes off the bench for the Saints. St. Francis ball to start the second half. They flip sides. The Saints are going from left to right now. The Bobcats from right to left. And the starters are on the floor for both teams here as we get set to commence the second half. Dakota Joachim receives the inbounds pass in the backcourt, which makes me realize it's not the starters on the floor for both teams. He is the one reserve in right now. Tay Jones, who started at guard, is not in at the moment. Here's Dakota Joachim passing it off to E.J. Charles on his left. Down to the corner, Nadav Gurner for 3. It's good. Gurner almost has to be coaxed into taking that shot. He does not put the ball up himself very often, but he was wide open in the corner. And he made St. Thomas pay for leaving him. First points of the game for Gurner, and the first points of the half for either side, as the Saints lead by 6. Stipe Sokol misses down low on the other end. Gurner actually did have a wide open layup, now that I think of it, in the first half. So he's 2 of 2 shooting now, 5 points. Don Joachim knocks down a long 2. The jump shooters have shown up here in the second half for the Saints. 5 in a row for them to open up out of halftime. There's Jordan Hernandez. Stipe Sokol to Daniel Agoro. Agoro steps inside the three-point arc, kicks it back out. Hernandez puts it on the floor. He drives and kicks. Sokol wide open at the free throw line, knocks it down. Nice touch from Stipe Sokol, freshman center from Croatia. He gets St. Thomas on the board for the first time this half. 32-26, the Fighting Saints have the lead. They've done their most damage today with their reserves on the floor, but their starters are looking good to open up this second half as Dakota Joachim kicks it out to E.J. Charles. Charles flips it into the corner. Gurner again. Air ball this time. That's why he doesn't shoot often. E.J. Charles, long 3, rolls around, no good. He had to fight that one out. The shot clock was running down. Gurner had back-to-back three-pointers. He hit the one from the opposite corner, and then on a mirror image of that play, wide open on the other end. Didn't go. Charles had a pretty decent look with the shot clock expiring. Poked away by Don Joachim, but kept alive by St. Thomas. Agoro takes a long 3. It's off the back iron, no good, and the Saints choose to run. Dakota Joachim pushes it ahead. Now back to Ben Fatz. Fatz didn't want to shoot the 3. Stipe Sokol dared him, and Fatz ultimately backed down. Saints set up the offense. It's Don Joachim back at half court. Over to Dakota. Back up top, Ben Fatz, 7 to shoot. Fatz puts it on the floor, gets around Sokol, and he's fouled by Milton Matthews on his way up. 2 free throws coming up. We are 23 minutes into the game. First free throws today for St. Francis. Fighting Saints as a team went to the free throw line 14 times in their season opener on Wednesday. They made 10 of those. Ben Fatz went 0 for 1, and now he's 0 for 2 this season. St. Thomas has only taken 2 free throws today. It has been a very clean game. Fats walks to the sideline. I think he might be bleeding. That's just a guess. I don't see where he'd be bleeding from. But typically that's what it means when a guy walks away from the free throw line like that and calls for the trainer. It is his foul shot coming up. So they can't proceed without him. But he's walking back towards the trainer's room, so the Saints are going to sub in a new shooter. Nick Nego checks in. So again, I didn't see where Fats was bleeding from, but I can't imagine any other reason he would have walked off like that. So he will get cleaned up and head back out onto the floor whenever he's ready. In the meantime, it's Nick Nego firing the free throw and missing. Rebound to St. Thomas. That foul on St. Thomas was just their fourth of the game, first of the half. And there's the first foul of the half on St. Francis as E.J. Charles hacks Stipe Sokol on his way by. That's only the third foul of the game on the Saints. St. Thomas went 17 minutes in this one before committing their first foul. 2 free throws coming up from Sokol here. I actually thought he looked like he wanted to pass the ball, but they do say that the foul was in the act of shooting. So Sokol gets to take the third and fourth free throws of the game for St. Thomas, and his first attempt is perfect. Sokol is 7 of 9 from the line so far this year. He's got all 3 points this half so far for St. Thomas. 3 for the game as well. Two for 2. Saints lead is back to 4. It was 3 at halftime. It's been as big as 8. Ibrahim Mobayed passes outside. This is Dakota Joachim. Charles, turnaround in the lane, no good. Rebound tip by Mobayed, but into the hands of Jordan Hernandez. And a carry is called on Stipe Sokol. A call you don't see all that often. Just dribbling it outside the perimeter. He lifted it a little bit too high. So a carrying violation leads to the 7th turnover of the game for St. Thomas. Ben Fats is back out there. E.J. Charles gives it to Dakota Joachim. Step back for Joachim, bounced in for Ben Fats. Fats with his back to the basket. Trying to get positioning around Sokol, flips it off the glass, no good. Rebounded by Jordan Hernandez. Milton Matthews has been quiet of late. Tries to change that, but he doesn't. It's an air ball. Wild off-balance shot for Milton Matthews from the free throw line. Nadav Gerner takes it to the top. Bounces to a cutting Dakota Joachim, who lays it in. And a steal from E.J. Charles. Charles is fouled. Big defensive play from E.J. Charles. After the great pass and layup for the Fighting Saints, got them 2 points. Trying to add very quickly to that. Charles to the line. He has been an up and down free throw shooter throughout his career at St. Francis. So far this season, just 1 of 1 from the line. And his first foul shots today. First one misses. Just 4:24 into the second half. We've already seen more free throws, considerably more free throws here in the second half than we did in the first. This next one will be the 6th combined after we saw a grand total of 2 over the first stanza. Second one from Charles, bounces off the front of the rim and rolls in. 35-28, 6 points for Charles. Knocked out of bounds by Nadav Gerner. It'll stay with the Bobcats. From the sideline, they'll inbound. It's Hernandez. Hernandez gets it right back from Matthews. Takes it hard to the rim. No good. Coming the other way, it's Ben Fatz. One bounce. And needs to get rid of it. Finds Dakota Joachim. E.J. Charles with 12 to shoot. Charles along the baseline, shovels it outside. Dakota Joachim, pull-up two-pointer, no good. Rebound deflected and brought in by Kyle Feldman of St. Thomas. Ogoro shakes free of the defender, and a foul is called on Dakota Joachim. No, foul called on E.J. Charles. I thought he was pointing at Joachim, which was a very late whistle, if that's who the foul were actually on, but it wasn't. It was on E.J. Charles, so the whistle came in at the right time. Charles might disagree. That is his second foul. He checks out. Lewis McGlasson is back in, along with Ben Kreitz and Tay Jones. Another carry. Second carry called against St. Thomas this half. That one on Milton Matthews. That was a very late whistle. The official was actually signaling for the carry for a while, but the whistle fell out of his mouth. So he had to grab it before he could actually make the official call, but he had been signaling it prior to the whistle blowing. Fatz backs in, working against Sierrius Warren, and Warren forces the miss, tries to save it from going out of bounds, but his foot was on the baseline as he tried to save it. So the ball belongs to St. Francis. Up by 7 in a disjointed second half. First half was low scoring, very defensive, but a little bit more free flowing than this. Not as many stoppages, mostly because of the foul situation. 5 combined fouls were called in the first half. Ben Fatz backs in. Fatz working again against Warren, got Warren up in the air and drew the foul. More fouls in this second half. There haven't been more turnovers, but maybe there have. Maybe they've been committed at a little bit of a higher rate so far. Fatz left briefly with an injury or an open cut a little bit earlier. So all of these stoppages are contributing to a second half without a whole lot of steady flow so far. Fatz misses the free throw. Free throw shooting has not been good for the Fighting Saints so far. They are 1 of 5. Fatz makes it 2 of 6 and gives the Fighting Saints an 8-point lead, matching their biggest of the game. Ramel Davis is back in. Davis played really well in the first half. In 11 minutes off the bench, Nadav Gerner grabs a seat. Sierrius Warren far from the basket. Gives it up to Hernandez. Jordan Hernandez trying to create space for himself. Drives on McGlasson. Kicked outside, three-pointer. Milton Matthews rattles it home. Matthews has his first points of the second half. He had 10 in a snap. He's only hit 2 buckets since those first few minutes. It's a steal from Kyle Feldman. Feldman along the baseline, reverse layup is good. That's a quick 5 for St. Thomas. And after the Saints had taken their biggest lead of the game, it's back to 3. Feldman steals another one, an inbounds play. Jordan Hernandez scores at the rim. St. Thomas wanted a foul in addition to that. They don't get it, but they are on a 7-0 run in just the last 20 seconds, and a timeout is called by the Fighting Saints. For the first time today, the Bobcats put on a full court press, and the Saints were not equipped to deal with it. Ryan Marks will try to change that along the sideline right now. 16 points for Milton Matthews on 6 of 11 shooting. He has been the star of the game for sure for St. Thomas. He just scored a three-pointer, his first of the second half. But this game has seen so many scoring droughts, seen so much tough defense that points have been hard to come by, and all of a sudden, a 7-0 run in less than half a minute. Pretty impressive stretch here for St. Thomas. The ball hasn't even crossed half court since that run started. They put on the full court press, first forced a turnover, and got 2 points out of it, and then stole the inbounds play. How about the work of Kyle Feldman there? Feldman got the first steal and bucket, and then he got the second steal as well, and then an assist on that one. So a really good minute for Feldman, who had no points and 1 steal and 1 assist a minute ago, and now all of a sudden 2 points, 3 steals, 2 assists. Coming out of the timeout, it will be St. Francis basketball. And no big surprise, Patrick Crary has kept his team in the front court after they forced back-to-back steals. With full court press in effect, they'll try it again. E.J. Charles is the trigger man here. He's got Dakota Joachim, McGlasson, Mobayed, and Davis on the floor with him. Gives it to Joachim out of bounds, who fires it ahead to Davis. So a nice play drawn up by Ryan Marks out of the timeout. Still haven't beaten the press yet. They got it in. They have not gotten it across the timeline, and with 1 second to spare, they do. E.J. Charles, wearing number 24 this year. I think that's the 3rd different number that he's worn in his 4 years at St. Francis. Knocked away by Sierrius Warren, who's called for the foul. Warren couldn't believe that foul was called. It is the 4th on St. Thomas, 3rd on him with 13:05 to play. Lewis McGlasson set to inbound. Charles drives on thrower, gets all the way in, rolls it off the backboard, no good. Rebound tipped around, and somehow it finds its way back to Charles, who's fouled by Feldman. Feldman going for his 4th steal of the game. Instead, he's called for his 1st foul. Make that his 2nd foul. 36-35. Joachim trying to get it in, finds Davis. Davis takes it into the paint, gives it up to Mobayed on the right block, back outside. This is Charles, 10 to shoot. Charles bounces it into Mobayed, who travels. Ninth turnover of the game for St. Francis. Mobayed checks out. Fatz is back in. Ben Fatz playing big minutes early on this season as the center for the Saints. Played a team-high 40 on Wednesday. Aitor Anabararte was the starting center for St. Francis last year and their leading scorer. He's going to miss this whole season with an injury he sustained during preseason, so Fatz has had to step up early on. Foul called on the floor. Good block from Charles coming in late. Foul's called on Lewis McGlasson, and they did say the foul was in the act of shooting. Looked like that foul came well before the shot, but it makes it a big deal that Charles came in for the block. Would have been a chance for a 3-point play. Instead, maximum of 2 for Hernandez, who hits the first and ties the score. It's been a while since St. Thomas has had the lead. They can change that right now. Second shot is good. First lead since it was 10-8. 37-36 St. Thomas. They've gone on a 9-0 run. Saints break the press with ease this time, and Charles takes it all the way down to the back line before pulling back out. McGlasson over to Dakota Joachim. Just about 12 minutes to play in this game. It's a tight one. Number 14, St. Thomas, and St. Francis 0-1 on the season, looking for their first victory. Ramel Davis down low, turnaround, short. Rebounded by Warren. Here come the Bobcats trying to add to this 9-0 run. Thrower bounces it out of bounds. Was that off of somebody's foot? No, a foul was called. Foul on Ben Fatz, or Lewis McGlasson, sorry. McGlasson's second. Substitutions for the Fighting Saints. Don Joachim checks back in. He had a double-double in the season opener. Hasn't gotten going yet today. Nadav Gerner and Tay Jones are back in as well. Here's Warren. Handoff to Daniel Agoro. Agoro works his way inside. Ball knocked away, picked up out of the air by St. Thomas. Feldman short from the corner on the three. Offensive rebound. Thrower no good. Third chance is there for Sierrius Warren. The run for St. Thomas is 11-0. Don Joachim trying to end it on the three. It's no good. Long rebound tracked down by Nadav Gerner. It was tipped into his hands by Tay Jones. Good pass, Fatz to the cutting Jones. Jones unable to finish, but he's fouled. Foul on the floor. Who's this on? Conflicting signals from the officials, and looks like no foul was called at all. So it's St. Thomas ball. Weird sequence. Feldman down to the corner. This is Joshua Thrower. Thrower backs in. Out to Agoro. Here's Kyle Feldman at the free throw line. Knocked away by Gerner. Ball loose on the floor. And looks like we've got a tie-up. Simultaneous possession means it'll stay with St. Thomas on the possession arrow. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Milton Matthews, after a short rest, checks back in for the Bobcats. 16 points today for Matthews to lead all scorers. Into Feldman. Feldman weaves around to the left side, crosses over on Jones, down to the corner. Open three, it's Thrower off the top of the backboard. The rebound deflected into the hands of Jones. Here comes Tay Jones for St. Francis to Nadav Gerner. Gerner fakes left, drives right, nice fake down low, and he's fouled. Good body control there by Nadav Gerner as he got in tight, jump stopped, and was able to fake the shot and force Joshua Thrower blowing by to commit the foul. So Gerner will get 2 free throws here. He's got 5 points so far in the game. And Gerner's first free throw attempt of the season misses. Gerner is not a good foul shooter, historically speaking. And of course, he's at 0% so far this year. 0 for 1. Second shot coming up for Gerner, trying to tie the score. Saints led 36-28. St. Thomas went on a 13-0 run. Or 11-0 run, I'm sorry. Take a 3-point lead. Unable to tie the scores, Gerner misses both foul shots. The rebound goes out of bounds, last touched by the Bobcats. .18 on the shot clock as Nadav Gerner inbounds. Gerner looking around, lobs it up high for E.J. Charles. Charles fires to the cutting Don Joachim against a double team. He can't get the roll. Rebound tipped around and out of bounds as Agoro brought that ball in. His toes were touching brown paint. And that means it will stay with St. Francis. No possession for St. Thomas. They never grabbed that rebound inbounds. So the Saints inbound with 20 on the shot clock. Gerner lobs this time for Ben Fatz. Good defense from St. Thomas. They're making it hard to get the ball in. but they've been a little bit too physical defensively of late as Agoro is called for another foul. Back to the free throw line for Nadav Gerner, where he missed 2 just moments ago. Saints have been bad from the line today. 2 of 8 as a team. And finally one goes down. Gerner hits the front end of a 1-and-1. One more shot coming for the senior from Israel. Gerner's got 6 points in the game. 17 minutes out there. He makes them both. 40-39, Saints back on top. They've led the majority of the game so far. Hernandez hassled, gets it out to Agoro. Agoro drives, kicks, deflected by Gerner towards the sideline. Feldman keeps it in bounds, and in the scramble, Stipe Sokol left all alone underneath the basket. He lays it in, and he may have gotten poked in the eye on the way by, or was it the mouth? I think some contact with Ben Fatz. I thought he was grabbing his eye at first, but I think he may have gotten an inadvertent arm to the face. No foul called. The Saints get it in against the press. 41-40, St. Thomas leads. The lead going back and forth now of late. Under 10 minutes to play in the game. Saints locked up in another close one after their season opener went to double overtime. Charles around the screen, steps back, fires out to Gerner. Good crossover from Gerner. Gerner gives it up to Joakim with the shot clock running down. He misses the short jumper. Fight for the rebound. And we've got a foul on Stipe Sokol. Ben Fatz ripped the ball out of his hands. Initially it looked like we might be on our way to a held ball call, but Fatz was able to turn his back to Sokol so that Sokol was reaching around his body, and that's when they called it a foul. 9th foul on St. Thomas. That makes this a 1-and-1 for Ben Fatz. I'm not sure what the delay is here. Always seems to be a delay whenever Ben Fatz goes to the line. Last time they forced him to leave the game. He had to go get his cut cleaned up before coming back out there. I'm not sure what this delay was about, but he's ready to go now, 1-and-1. He misses the first, but a lane violation is called on St. Thomas, and that was a clear one. Daniel Agoro was practically standing in front of Fatz as that ball came in, just left too early. So he'll get another chance. This is, once again, the first of a 1-and-1. And this time he makes it. E.J. Charles and Stipe Sokol got locked up in each other's arms there. Charles not too happy about Sokol. He gave a little shove. So Fatz gets a second. The second one is good. So that lane violation against Agoro was actually a 2-point lane violation because initially Fatz had missed the front end of the 1-and-1. Instead, he makes them both, and the Saints lead it again, 42-41, coming up on 9 minutes to play. There's a spin from Milton Matthews, a little leaner off the rim, no good. Rebounded by Don Joakim. Joakim inside the three-point arc, shovels it off to Charles, back outside, and the Saints reset with 20 to shoot. Fatz dribbles to his left, gives it up to Charles. Charles guarded by the much smaller Milton Matthews. Off the cut, the ball deflects off of Gerner's hands. Feldman takes it away and lays it in on the other end. Ben Fatz looking for Nadav Gerner. Two of them were not able to connect, and the turnover leads to 2 quick ones for St. Thomas. 1-point game. St. Thomas back in front. The lead is going back and forth here in the second half. St. Francis led most of the first half and early on in the second as well. The biggest lead was 8 on multiple occasions. Ben Fatz with 2 on the shot clock, runs in. No good off the backboard. Rebound St. Thomas. Here's a run for Agoro. Lays it up and in with the right hand. And the Bobcats are up by 3. Timeout called St. Francis. St. Thomas's biggest lead today has also been 8 points, but that was way back at the beginning of the game, 10-2. 3 matches their largest lead of the second half, as they've scored the last 4 points thanks to quick runouts, 1 off a missed shot and 1 off of a steal. Lewis McGlasson still leads St. Francis with 8 points today. 9 different players have found the scoreboard for the Fighting Saints. I mentioned earlier that Aitor Anabadarte, their leading scorer from last year, is out for the season with an injury. So there are not any dominant offensive talents on this team right now, and we've seen it in play early on this season. They move the ball around a lot. They try to create shots for a lot of different players, and they take the air out of the ball a little bit too. A deliberate offensive approach. And that has led to a couple of low-scoring games. The first one that they played this year was 70-68 on Wednesday. It doesn't sound low-scoring, but consider that was a double overtime result. Today, just 45-42. We've got some time, though, to add some points to the scoreboard. Still close to 8 minutes remaining in this game. And both offenses have been a little bit cleaner in the second half, or a little bit more active. I shouldn't necessarily say cleaner. Saints are shooting just 25% since halftime, but they've also gotten themselves to the line 12 times after not shooting a single free throw in the first half. Meanwhile, St. Thomas couldn't shoot in the first half. They're 4 for 8 here in the second, 50%. Or 8 of 16, sorry, 50%. 4 field goals would be hard to explain. They already scored 21 points here. Dakota Joachim spins his way into the paint, tries to score under Feldman, but Feldman is called for the foul. 2 free throws coming up for Dakota Joachim. Joachim came on early, played really well off the bench, and as a result, has gotten a lot of playing time down the stretch here. He scored 12 in 24 minutes on Wednesday. Here today, Joachim has just 2 points, but his first free throw is good. He's played great defense. He's grabbed 5 rebounds, but has struggled on the offensive end. Looking for his 4th point, and he's got it. Makes it a 1-point game, 45-44, 7:35 on the clock. Agoro off to Sierrius Warren. Warren passes to a cutting Matthews, who gets it back outside. Feldman drives, no good on the run. Warren is blocked out of bounds. It stays with St. Thomas. Lobbed in for Warren. They tried the alley-oop. It was well defended, though. Warren was not able to finish with the right hand. Sets up a 3-pointer for Hernandez. That's no good. McGlasson tries to come away with the rebound, but in and out of his hands, and it's kept alive back out to Milton Matthews. Another chance on this possession for St. Thomas. Agoro drives, kicks. Matthews for 3, short. Rebound E.J. Charles, and finally the Saints have cleared it. McGlasson fires inside. Don Joachim lays it in. He let Hernandez blow by, and now he gives the Saints the lead back. 46-45, under 7 minutes to play. And we've got another lead change here in the second half. They have been plentiful in the game now. 8 lead changes. We've been tied 6 different times. Feldman drives, kicks it outside. Here's Agoro trying to give the lead back to St. Thomas. 4 to shoot. Agoro drives, blocked by Ben Fatz, right out to Milton Matthews, who misses the 3. St. Thomas starting to find those shooting struggles of the first half again. Dakota Joachim kicks it out to McGlasson for three. That's his first miss of the game. And a quick possession for St. Francis. Those have been rare. But a quick miss this time, one and done. Agoro calls timeout. 5:56 to play. 46-45. St. Francis has the lead in a game that appears to be going down to the wire. It has been tight pretty much this whole second half. Saints have led the majority of the way by as many as 8 on 2 separate occasions. They led by 8 at 22-14 and again at 36-28. St. Thomas, though, fought their way back. They went on an 11-0 run to take the lead at 39-36, and since then, it has just been back and forth, trading baskets, trading the lead. It's a big one for the Fighting Saints just because they lost a very difficult game in their season opener. Now playing at home for the first time this year, they'd like to get their Joliet schedule off to a good start. If not today, they'll get another chance tomorrow. 2 games in 2 days for all 4 teams competing in the Thanksgiving Classic. Tomorrow, St. Francis will take on United International College, another team that came up from Florida. Will be the first matchup ever between those 2 schools. St. Thomas will also play tomorrow. They'll take on Roosevelt University, another CCAC school, albeit in their last year in the CCAC. Games tomorrow, 12:30 for St. Francis. St. Thomas plays at 2:30 Central Time tomorrow. Inbounds play for Agoro. Hernandez, open 3 from the wing, drains it. St. Thomas is back in front. 48-46 with under 6 minutes to play. A big bucket out of the timeout for St. Thomas. Joachim, Charles, Fats, and McGlasson on the floor for the Saints. E.J. Charles is fouled, going to the rim and hit hard. Well, he wasn't hit particularly hard, but it was a hard fall because he was high in the air when that contact was made, an awkward fall, and that can't have felt very good. He's back up now, and he'll go to the free throw line for 2 shots. Charles had a team-leading 18 points in the season opener. Today he's got just 6. 2 of 8 from the field. He's 1 of 2 from the free throw line. And he'll get 2 more chances. That was a shooting foul anyway, but all fouls will result in 2 free throws the rest of the way here. That was number 10 on St. Thomas, so they have gone over the limit. Saints have committed just 4 fouls here in the second half. Just 6 total in the game. First of 2 free throws for E.J. Charles is good. And he's got another chance now to tie it up. Second foul shot for Charles is on the money. And we're knotted up 48-48. 5.5 minutes to go. Anybody's ball game here. It has been tight as can be in the second half. Warren passes to Agoro. Agoro puts it on the floor, now picks up his dribble. Can't find anybody. Now takes it himself all the way in and lays it in. After the pass to Sierrius Warren. St. Thomas is back in the lead. Lobbed for Charles. They were looking for the alley-oop, but the pass came in good distance from the basket. It was well defended. Knocked out of bounds. St. Thomas didn't think anybody touched it on their team, but it does stay with the Saints. And a foul called on St. Francis. Lewis McGlasson called for illegally creating some space for E.J. Charles. Or was the foul called on Charles himself? It was on Charles. My mistake. Third foul on Charles. Fifth on the Saints. Here's Warren. Ciarius Warren gives it up to his right. This is Jordan Hernandez. Cross court, Agoro, and Agoro is kicked by E.J. Charles. That's the fourth foul on Charles, and Agoro is down on the floor. Patrick Crary is calling for that to be a flagrant foul. Charles jumped up, thought he was going to pass it. He was trying to deflect the pass. Instead, Agoro put the ball on the floor. And Charles was out of position up in the air, and Agoro ran right into his foot. So the referees are going to discuss whether this is a flagrant foul or not. Certainly the intent from Charles wasn't flagrant, but he, again, got himself caught out of position. And the contact did end up being high on the body of Agoro. It looked like the foot got him around the neck, which is a dangerous area to get hit. So they'll figure out exactly what this foul means. As it stands, it's just a personal foul, and it's only the sixth on St. Francis, which would mean no free throws. I think that's going to stand that way. There's a timeout on the floor. 4:35 to play in the second half. 2-point lead for St. Thomas. They'll have the ball out of bounds coming out of the break here. So the Fighting Saints have hit their foul limit. That means both teams are in the bonus the rest of the way. Saints are in the double bonus, so 2 shots on all of their free throws. For the Bobcats, it'll be 1-1 for the next few. Big foul there on Charles. He's got 4, so he stays in the game, but he's got to be very careful. Ciarius Warren of St. Thomas is also playing with 4. A lot of delays in this game for unspecified reasons. We're ready to go now. Agoro to inbound to Feldman. Feldman drives around Gerner, blocked from the backside by E.J. Charles. Lobbed ahead for Charles, and Charles keeps it alive. Feldman blew right by Gerner, but a big bailout from Charles. That's a huge block. Here's Dakota Joachim around the screen to the free throw line. Kicks it out to McGlasson. Top of the key, Ben Fatz. Fatz looking for the backdoor pass to Gerner, but it wasn't there. And easily intercepted by St. Thomas. Bobcats lead by 2, under 4 minutes to play. Warren at the top, guarded by Fatz. Puts it on the floor, kicks it out to Jordan Hernandez. Hernandez drives and kicks. Feldman for 3, no. A little bit short on the three-pointer. That would have been huge for the Bobcats, who lose possession out of bounds. And incredulous that that ball was given to St. Francis, but it is Fighting Saints ball. Saints can tie with a 2 or take the lead with a 3. The lead has gone back and forth over the last several minutes. Dakota Joachim holds it on the wing, gets the screen from Fatz, makes his move to the right. Out to Nadav Gerner, 10 on the shot clock. It's Fatz at the elbow. Out to Don Joachim along the baseline. Reverse layup is good. Pretty move, Don Joachim. And we're knotted up 50-50. I'd say it's about 50-50 shot at winning this game right now. Score is very appropriate. 3 minutes to go. Ten on the shot clock for Milton Matthews. Matthews hasn't scored in a while, trying to change that. Misses the 3. Don Joachim grabs the rebound. Here come the Saints looking to take the lead. Dakota Joachim from the outside. He misses the 3. And Ciarius Warren is fouled by E.J. Charles on the rebound attempt. Number 5 on Charles with 2:37 to play. So that'll send Warren to the free throw line on the other end, and it'll knock Charles out of the game. A huge foul for multiple reasons. Sierrius Warren is going to get a chance now to put his team back in front. We've been tied 7 times. We've had 9 lead changes. This would not be a lead change if Sierrius Warren were to hit a free throw, because St. Thomas had the advantage before. Warren's a bad free throw shooter, 41% on the season. He's made 1 of 2 today. This is a 1-and-1. He's got to make the first. And he doesn't, but it's an offensive rebound for Feldman. Right back to Warren, and Warren is fouled. He'll go back to the line. This time a 2-shot foul is called on Ben Fatz. So a second chance for Sierrius Warren to give his team the lead. Warren has 3 points tonight, 1 of 3 from the line. He misses again. So the Saints have not wanted to commit these fouls, but they've sent the right guy to the line. And he misses again. 3 straight misses in a critical situation for Warren. And now the Saints again have a chance to take the lead, 50-all, with under 2.5 minutes to play. They are without E.J. Charles, who fouled out with 8 points. Fatz tries to find a cutting Don Joachim, couldn't get it to him with a loose ball secured by Ben Kreitz. Here's Ben Fatz working his way inside, and a blocking foul is called on St. Thomas. So the Saints will get a chance to take the lead from the free throw line. 2 shots for Ben Fatz. That is the first foul on Jordan Hernandez. It's been a very physical game, even going back to the first half. The officials weren't calling much. We had just 5 combined fouls called in the first half. There have been 19 of them called here in the second. And before Ben Fatz shoots his free throws, they wipe up the floor. Roosevelt and United International are waiting by the baselines, getting set for their chance to take the floor and warm up for their game coming up next, about a half hour after the conclusion of this one. Ben Fatz makes his first free throw. Waited a while, but eventually it did fall, and a big free throw for Ben Fatz. And the game may come down to free throws. Saints have been bad all day from the line, but they've started to turn it around. They've made their last several until now. Fatz misses this second, and it is just a 1-point lead for St. Francis. Neither team has shot free throws well today, but the Saints just well enough that time to take a 1-point lead. 2 minutes to go. Joshua Thrower looking around, surveying the situation, finally gives it up to Milton Matthews. 8 on the shot clock. Hernandez has it poked out, gets it back, turn around, no good, off the rim, fight for the rebound, won by Don Joachim. Saints have it with 1:40 to play, up by 1. Joachim is taking it all the way, circles the basket, now lobs inside for Dakota Joachim, pulls back outside into the corner. Ben Kreitz fakes, gives it up to Gerner. Don Joachim picks up his dribble. 7 to shoot, finds Dakota. 4 seconds to shoot. Dakota Joachim takes a dribble, hands it off to Don. Long 3, no good. Fight for the rebound, and it's won by Kyle Feldman. Down by 1. St. Thomas has the ball back as we approach the 1-minute mark. Here's a drive from Thrower. He throws it towards the rim, no good. Trying to draw the foul, didn't get the whistle. And now the Saints have the ball up by 1 with under 1 minute to play. A basket here for St. Francis would be crushing to St. Thomas's chances. Ben Kreitz gives it up to Dakota Joachim. Joachim spins into the lane, gives it up to Ben Fatz. Fatz is blocked and a late whistle. Foul called on Agoro. Ben Fatz is going back to the line. Ben Fatz made one of two moments ago. That's what gave the Saints their 1-point lead. Now he gives them a 2-point lead. Fatz is just 5 of 8 from the line today, but he's hit the last two, or at least 2 of the last 3, which have been huge. And he's got one more coming. 7 points today for Ben Fatz. Fighting Saints lead it 52-50. Timeout called by St. Thomas with 37 seconds left. Saints are shooting 63% from the line today. The Bobcats are shooting 56%. So both teams, for as close as this game has been, have had their chances to build up a more significant lead at one point or another by knocking down their free throws and haven't been able to do it. Saints have had a lot more chances. They are 12 of 19 compared to St. Thomas's 5 of 9. It has been close today. Biggest lead for either team has been 8. They both led by 8 at one point. Saints were up 27-24 at halftime. Second half came out with a little bit more offense. There wasn't much of it in the first half, and then all of a sudden, St. Thomas was knocking down all their shots. St. Francis was getting themselves consistently to the free throw line. And then all of a sudden, St. Thomas stopped making their shots. St. Francis has not shot the ball well throughout the second half. They are 6 of 21 from the field since halftime, but those foul shots have kept them alive and have put themselves in a position now for a win. Ben Fatz is looking to make it a 3-point game here. For their part, St. Francis has committed 8 fouls, so if they commit one on defense once St. Thomas gets the ball back, it's still just a 1-and-1. Fatz makes them both. So he's made 3 of 4 key free throws down the stretch here. And those 3 free throws have given the Saints a 3-point lead. It was 50-50 with 3.5 minutes left. It's been a while since St. Thomas has scored. Do they have a big one in them right here? Shot clock at 15. Agoro fakes, takes a step in, kicks it out to Jordan Hernandez. Step back 3 for the tie. Good. 16 seconds to play. We're tied at 53, and St. Francis will have a chance to go for the win here. Timeout called by Ryan Marks. It looks for an instant like maybe he would let them play through, but they will draw up a play here on the sideline with 11.6 seconds remaining. Saints may be looking at their second consecutive overtime game to start this season. It'll either be overtime or a win. Barring a great defensive play from St. Thomas, the Bobcats will not win this one in regulation. We'll see. Big offensive play from Jordan Hernandez for a team that has not shot the ball well all game. They got the ball in the hands of a good shooter, one of their seniors, who put one up at one of the highest degrees of difficulty we've seen all game. That was not an easy shot for Jordan Hernandez. A step back, long range 3 with a hand in his face. But arguably the best shooter on the team. He's 3 of 5 from 3-point range tonight. And he has tied things up for the 9th time today. See if the Fighting Saints, a little bit more magic left in them. They have not hit a field goal in a long time. Their last 3 points have all come from the line. But it's been over 3 minutes since their last one from the field. They don't necessarily need one here. They wouldn't mind free throws if St. Thomas commits a foul. We're ready to go here. 10 seconds to play in regulation. Tie game. It's Dakota Joachim passing off to Ben Fatz. 3 seconds on the clock. Fatz dribbles, gives it up to Ben Kreitz at the buzzer. Kreitz misses the 3, and we're headed to overtime. Good defense from St. Thomas there. And Roosevelt and United International will have to wait just a little bit longer. Credit to the Bobcats, the 14th ranked team in the country, will not go down without a fight here. They had their backs against the wall, 53-50. They got the ball back with 37 seconds left. Saints played good defense, but Jordan Hernandez freed himself up for a step-back three-pointer, a tough shot. He got it to go. He tied the score, and then good defense from the Bobcats meant that the Saints couldn't get a good-looking shot off themselves. We are going to a 5-minute bonus period. St. Francis's overtimes to game played ratio is pretty impressive. 3 overtimes now in just 2 games. They lost 70-68 in double overtime against St. Ambrose in a conference game on Wednesday. That one, like this one, was played in the 50s in regulation. That was a 52-52 game going into overtime. This one, of course, 53-53. Keep in mind, St. Francis' leading scorer in that game, E.J. Charles, is not playing in this one. He had 8 points, but fouled out with 2.5 minutes to play in regulation. And so Charles is done for the day. One of the leading scorers for St. Thomas, Ciarius Warren, is playing with 4 fouls, has been for a long time. He has not committed that 5th one yet, but that is something to watch out for. There are a couple of players on St. Thomas with 3. Feldman and Agoro are in just a little bit of foul trouble right now for the Bobcats. Jump ball is won by St. Thomas, and we're underway in overtime period 1, 53-53. Kyle Feldman runs the offense for the Bobcats. Jordan Hernandez, the guy who hit the big shot at the end of regulation, gives it to Milton Matthews. Matthews has 16 points today, but only 3 of them after halftime. Agoro drives on Ben Fatz and lays it in. First lead in about 4 minutes for St. Thomas. It's our 11th lead change of the game. Ben Fatz backs in, looking to answer. Fatz up with a right hand, soft touch, but can't get the bounce off the rim. The rebound goes to the Bobcats. Matthews out to Hernandez, another 3. Well off this time, but an offensive rebound, and the putback is there from Milton Matthews. 57-53, St. Thomas. 4 points is their largest lead since very early in this game when it was 10-6. Dakota Joachim tried to cut it down to 1, but he misses the 3. Saints look to be in good position to win this one up 3 late, but those last 3 points all came from the free throw line. They've now gone close to 5 minutes since their last field goal. Beautiful move, Kyle Feldman, he streaks to the hoop. And Feldman gives St. Thomas a 6-point lead, a 6-0 run over the first minute, 25 seconds of overtime to start out this period. And a big start to overtime for St. Thomas. Timeout called by St. Francis. Saints are down to their final timeout now. Not the way that they were expecting to come out, but their offense has been slow going for a long time, most of the game really. They are shooting just 25% since halftime. And the defense has now left some holes open for St. Thomas over the last few minutes, and that is what we haven't seen all game. St. Francis's defense has been unimpeachable over the first 40 minutes. In overtime, St. Thomas has cut right through it. 18 points now for Milton Matthews to lead all scorers. Jordan Hernandez and Daniel Agoro are both in double figures as well, 13 each. Nobody for St. Francis has more than 8. 4 different players have tied for the team lead with 8 points tonight. Saints come out with McGlasson, Kreitz, Fatz, Gerner, and Dakota Joachim on the floor. Down by 6. This is a big possession for them as they look to end their long drought over 5 minutes, or close to 5 minutes, I should say, without a field goal. Here's Gerner on the outside, giving it up top to Ben Fatz. Fatz dribbles once, gives it to Dakota Joachim. Shot clock is down to 6. Gerner underneath, into the corner. Ben Kreitz for 3, good. So the 5-minute drought is over for the Fighting Saints. Ben Kreitz missed the three-pointer as time expired that would have given the Saints the win. He does get the much-needed 3 here in overtime. 59-56, and now the Saints need a stop. Milton Matthews has other ideas, loses the handle on the ball, but chases it down, keeps it alive out to Agoro. Agoro cuts his way into the paint, into the corner. Feldman for 3. Well short, rebound grab by Kreitz, who's quickly fouled by Daniel Agoro, and that's number 4 on him. Saints are in the double bonus. They're on their way down to the other side of the floor for 2 free throws. Ben Kreitz will do the honors. Kreitz has 5 points in the game. He has not yet attempted a free throw this season, and he misses the first one here. Saints have missed 8 free throws in today's game. Make it 9. Kreitz goes 0 for 2. St. Thomas gets away with the foul, and now they've got a chance to make it a 2-possession game. Agoro finds Milton Matthews. Here's Warren, back to Matthews. Matthews around the screen, has it poked away from behind, gets it back, loses it down low, but he steps on the baseline. Matthews stepped on the baseline, and so St. Thomas turns it over. 2:14 to play in overtime. And St. Francis again can cut it to 1 with a 2 or tie the game with a 3-pointer. Last time they had the ball, they had the opportunity to make it a 1-point game from the free throw line, but Ben Kreitz missed both shots. Here's Nadav Gerner up top to Lewis McGlasson. Dakota Joachim around a screen from Kreitz. Works his way in, gives it up to Ben Fatz. Baseline jumper, rims out. Streaking in for the rebound, Joshua Thrower. Saints have just 1 field goal during overtime. Feldman calls timeout for St. Thomas. 1:47 to play. Saints are one of their last 7. Going back to late in the second half when they had trouble scoring late in the game. Their defense has kept them in it. Down the stretch, Saints defense was very impressive. Even on that final possession, leading 53-50 and needing a stop to clinch a win. Jordan Hernandez hit the 3, but it was not a gimme 3-pointer. It was a contested shot. It was a difficult shot. Saints played well. Hernandez was just better on that particular occasion. For the game, St. Thomas is shooting just 37% from the field. This is a team that shoots 47% overall. Saints have held each of their first 2 opponents this season to under 40% shooting. The defense looks sharp. The offense not as much early on this year. Feldman hands it to Hernandez, picked up by Nadav Gerner. Shot clock at 15 for St. Thomas, who has a 3-point lead. Warren gets around Fatz. He's fouled on the floor by Nadav Gerner. And so Ciarius Warren is going to the line, and that's a great result of the play for St. Francis. Warren on his way to the basket. He wanted continuation called, but you're not going to get that call in college. Warren is a bad free throw shooter. We've seen that exhibited several times already tonight. He is 1 of 5 from the line. And this is a 1-and-1. Free throw misses the rim, and that means it'll be St. Francis basketball. Warren is not pretty when he goes to the line. He's played well on the floor, but he's shooting his team in the foot a number of times from the free throw stripe. And the Saints will try to take advantage. Ben Fatz working hard underneath, and he scores off the glass. Give him 10 points for the game. First double-digit scorer for St. Francis. A minute 13 to go. Feldman crosses over on Gerner. Feldman works his way inside. Beautiful drive from Kyle Feldman. And St. Thomas's lead is back to 3. Lewis McGlasson, a good three-point shooter, wanted the tie shot. Well defended, though. He gives it up. Here's Fatz. And Fatz gives it to Nadav Gerner. Gerner backs it up with 11 to shoot. Around a screen, he rolls to his right. Here's Ben Kreitz with the fake. Kreitz gives it up to McGlasson. McGlasson's three is wild and rebounded by Milton Matthews with just 34 seconds to play now. St. Thomas with a 3-point lead. Just going to pass it around. Saints trying to force the turnover. Milton Matthews lobs it inside for Warren, and Warren throws it down to give St. Thomas the 5-point edge. Here's McGlasson quickly on the other end. Gives it outside towards Gerner, but it's intercepted by Joshua Thrower, and that should do it for this game. 12 seconds remaining. And St. Thomas, with a 5-point lead, will get 2 free throws. And try to ice this one once and for all. If he makes them both, it would be a 3-possession game with 12 seconds left. Probably not enough time for St. Francis to come back. The Fighting Saints led this one most of the way, including with 30 seconds left. They had a 53-50 lead and were not able to come up with the stop as St. Thomas hit the three-pointer to tie it, send it to overtime. And now Thrower looks to put it away. That was the 10th team foul, so 2 shots for Thrower. And the first one misses. Today's game has been a clinic in how not to shoot free throws. Both teams have really struggled from the line. St. Thomas 5 of 12 as a team from the line today. They've left the door open just a crack. Ben Fatz for 3, and he hits. So it's not over just yet. 63-61, 4.5 seconds on the clock. The Saints call timeout. Still a long shot for St. Francis, but they'll have a chance to get a steal on the inbounds play here. And even if they don't, we've seen the way that the Bobcats shoot free throws. You certainly want to foul Sierrius Warren. I would assume Warren won't be in the game. Last time it was Joshua Thrower missing a pair of free throws, but that's a rarity for him. He's actually a very good foul shooter. So it's not a guy, even though he just missed 2, it's not a guy you particularly want to send to the line. I mean, the game for St. Francis is largely going to be forcing a turnover on the inbounds play. If St. Thomas is able to get the ball in, it becomes a huge long shot for the Saints because they'd be asking St. Thomas to miss 2 more free throws, and then they'd still have to go the length of the floor in probably about 2 seconds to get a shot off. So if the Bobcats are able to inbound it, it's going to be a very uphill climb for St. Francis. Down by 5 with 12 seconds left. If Thrower had made both of his free throws, the game would essentially have been over. He missed both instead. And the Saints are trying to step through that door that was left open. Ben Fatz made a 3-pointer. And for Fatz, that was the first 3-pointer made this season, albeit in only 2 games. He now leads the team with 13 points. Warren is not on the floor, so it's not the guy to foul. Saints trying to force the turnover here. Hernandez running the baseline. He calls timeout. Couldn't find anybody to get the ball into. So we'll sit through one more timeout here. St. Thomas actually does still have another timeout, so if they can't get it in again, they could stop the clock one more time. 4.5 seconds left. We're in overtime. We are tied at 53 at the end of regulation. Roosevelt takes on United International. It'll be about 8:40 tonight. Most likely that game will get started. And then tomorrow, 12:30 start time. St. Francis will play United International. Roosevelt takes on St. Thomas after that one ends. Fighting Saints led 36-28. St. Thomas went on an 11-0 run. And then throughout the rest of regulation, it was a one-possession game going one way or the other. We've had 9 ties and 10 lead changes in this game, and the vast majority of them have come since halftime. But St. Thomas came out firing in the second half. They scored 6 consecutive points in the first 85 seconds. Had the Saints reeling a little bit. The Saints just haven't been able to get on a roll since then, but the missed free throws have kept them in the game. And now down by 2 with 4.5 seconds left. Hernandez trying again to get it in. This time he's able to Kyle Feldman, and Feldman is fouled. 3.6 on the clock. Kyle Feldman has not been to the line a lot this year, but like the rest of the team today, he has not been good when he's been there. As a team today, St. Thomas is shooting 42% on free throws. Feldman is 1 of 4 from the line. If he makes them both, it's game over. At about a 99.9% chance. If he misses one, Saints still have the possibility of tying it up. First from Feldman, no good. This is getting hard to believe how bad the free throw shooting has been in this game. St. Thomas could have had this one 10 minutes ago, but they have missed every foul shot they've taken in overtime. So this one would make it a 3-point game. Saints are out of timeouts. Second shot for Feldman. Rolls around, does not go. Rebound, Don Joachim. He's got 1 second left from half court for the win. Just a little bit short. And St. Thomas escapes with a 63-61 win. They tried hard from the free throw line to give St. Francis an opportunity, but the Saints were not able to shoot the ball well enough in overtime themselves to come back and win this one in OT. They also missed all their free throws in overtime. I've been highly critical of St. Thomas's free throw shooting today, but the Saints wasn't very good either. Saints shot it at 59%. St. Thomas 36% on free throws today, but that's not the story of the game in the end, because St. Thomas does end up getting the victory 63-61, 18 points for Milton Matthews. He led the way, had a double-double with 10 rebounds as well. They got 13 apiece from Jordan Hernandez and Daniel Agoro. St. Francis got 13 from Benton Fatts, the only one in double figures. They had 8 points each from Lewis McGlasson, Dakota Joachim, and E.J. Charles, who fouled out with 2.5 minutes remaining in regulation and was not able to make an impact in overtime in this game. 10 rebounds for Don Joachim led the way for the Fighting Saints, his second straight game with a double-digit rebound total. With the win, St. Thomas improves their record on the season to 6-1. It's their second overtime victory of the season. St. Francis falls to 0-2, and a very tough 0-2. Both games ended up going into overtime. Fighting Saints will be back at it tomorrow afternoon, 12:30 start time. They take on United International University, or United International College, I should say. And St. Thomas is back a little bit after that. 2:30 Central Time, they'll take on Roosevelt, the locals from downtown Chicago, who are getting set for their game to start right now. We'll have that game for you here as well in about a half hour's time. That'll do it for this one. An overtime loss for the Fighting Saints in their home opener they drop it to St. Thomas, 63-61. Until next time, Terry Bonadonna signing off for the moment. We'll talk soon.